guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a brand new video. What I got for you guys today is something new that I want to introduce. It's something that I actually want to turn into this series of my top 10. It's not very original, it's not new or anything, but it's just something that I'm really excited about and I really want to share with you guys. So today's video is going to be about my top 10 favorite movies. The reason why I wanted to share these with you guys is because I really enjoy watching movies and TV shows and all that. And it was just a real challenge for me to just see if I could actually pick a favorite, or like 10 favorites in this case. As it turns out, I actually have a lot of movies that I really enjoy. So I've made a top 10 and a list of honorable mentions. So I hope you guys will enjoy it. Before we get started, I would just like to ask you to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't yet, so you don't miss out on any future content. I just want to say these are in a random order, so it's not ranked literally 1 to 10, because even though I managed to pick favorite movies or like movies that I really enjoy, I found it very hard to actually make a ranking of them. So this isn't like a ranking, it's just me telling you the 10 movies that I enjoyed or enjoyed watching the most. Just wanted to make that clear before we get started. Alright, the first movie on my list is Pride and Prejudice. It actually took a while for me to watch the movie. I mean, I've heard about it obviously, I mean, since it's such a classic, but the fact that it's such a classic also made me a bit nervous to watch it, because I know people really enjoy it, and because it's such a classic, I was really scared that I had expectations and that my expectations wouldn't be met. So it took like years and years before I actually watched it, but I watched it for the first time this summer, and there was like a week in August where I would just watch the movie at least once every single day, and I just did not get tired of it at all. The reason why I love that movie so much is because I am such a sucker for cliche romance, for like boy meets girl and they don't get along at first and then in the end they're like, oh my god, I actually really like you, and they fall in love and live happily ever after and all of that. I'm just such a sucker for it, and I just think the movie is very well written. I must say I do prefer the version with Keira Knightley over the one with Colin Firth, although I do love Colin Firth. I mean, the version with Colin Firth is probably a bit too posh for me, and the version with Keira Knightley is just way more like accessible, I guess. So yeah, that's the first one on my list, Pride and Prejudice. Speaking of romance cliches, number 2 on my list is Cinderella. Actually, not just the original Cinderella movie, but also the live action remake. That's probably at the top of my list. But I do love all the other adaptations, like A Cinderella Story with Hilary Duff, Another Cinderella Story with Selena Gomez, A Cinderella Story Once Upon a Song with Lucy Hill, and the list goes on. I just really love the cliche of the Cinderella storyline, so... But the Disney live action one is at the top of my list. Lily James and Richard Madden did such a good job. After I watched that movie for the first time, I was completely in love with it, with everything about it, with the actors, with the way they portrayed the story and the characters, and just the way it was so colorful. And I mean, the dress, I don't know if you've seen it, but you definitely should. So yeah, that's been a favorite of mine for a very long time. Number 3 on my list is The Greatest Showman. I saw it in the cinema when it just came out and I was in love. I went in there with like no expectations, nothing, and I came out just completely in love with it, with everything about it. It was so well done. And even though the story of the actual P.T. Barnum isn't really a positive story, I think Hugh Jackman did a magnificent job. And also, have you heard that man sing? Because oh my god, it's like heaven for the ears. And I mean, obviously, don't even get me started on Zac Efron and Zendaya. They just put together this cast of incredible actors and incredible singers and did such a good job with everything. I rewatched that movie about 1 billion times. From the moment I came out of the cinema until like today, I have not stopped listening to the movie soundtrack. It is so good. Like, there were some songs that I just had to get used to. For example, Tightrope didn't used to be one of my favorite songs from the movie, but now it definitely is. Michelle Williams did a great job. I'm just still so amazed by how well the songs were written and performed and all of that. And then came The Greatest Showman Reimagined album with like these artists covering the songs, and some of them did really well. I mean, Panic at the Disco for The Greatest Show, that's all I really need to say. And Pink and her daughter, I mean, yes, thank you. So yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about that movie, which is why it definitely belongs in this list and you should definitely watch it. Movie number 4 on this list is obviously a classic, Mamma Mia. I mean, we all love Mamma Mia. Don't even lie. If you've seen it, you probably loved it because it is just so cute, you know? It's so cute and it's just such a classic. And I must say I was very scared when the sequel came out because I was like, how are you gonna top the original? Because it was so good. I felt like a movie like Mamma Mia would be very hard to make a sequel to, in the sense of like a sequel that would actually satisfy the fans of the original movie, but they delivered. They did. The only thing that I appreciated a little less about the sequel was that it had me crying after like 5 minutes. I was like, oh my god, is this the kind of movie it's gonna be? But still, it was so good and I really enjoyed it. But if I had to choose, I would still go for the original because it's just so good and such a classic. Movie number 5 on this list is If I Stay. If I Stay is a movie that I didn't see until like 2 years after it came out because like I put it on my must-watch list and then it just didn't happen until like 2 years after its release. But it's still a movie that I would say to this day is my favorite. I think I've only seen it like 3 times, but I can still tell you exactly what the movie is about. I can still tell you my favorite scene, my least favorite scene. And with this movie, it's also not just the movie itself that's really good, it's also the music that they use. It's so captivating and Chloe Grace Moretz does such a good job portraying Mia's character. That movie just has like a special place in my heart. I will always love that movie. I truly believe I will. Because I was just so impressed after I saw it, and I feel like if I would watch it today I would still get that feeling. Like I'm so impressed and it's so captivating and it drags you along with the story and with what the characters are feeling. And yeah, I think that's kind of what a good movie is. It is based on a book, which I did not know when I saw the movie. It actually was one of those situations where I do think that the book is better than the movie, but both had me crying, so does it even matter at this point? So yeah, If I Stay definitely belongs on this list. Movie number 6 is more of like a fun movie that I definitely think people should see. It's Kingsman, The Secret Service. It's part 1 from the 2 movies that are out at this point in time. I do think that both of the movies are really good, but I just think that I have a slight preference for the first film. And I mean, Samuel Jackson does such a good job at being the villain. He portrays a villain who's trying to be taken seriously by everyone, but it's not quite working. I just really enjoyed that. When I got the idea to make this video, I started thinking what movies that I've seen belong in this list, and my brain was just like Kingsman. Yeah. Movie number 7 on this list is Love, Rosie. Love, Rosie is also a film that took me a couple of years to watch, but once I did, I completely fell in love with it. You know, it's actually really tough to explain why I do love some of these movies, because some of them I'm just really passionate about, and others it's just a case of I just love them. It's just the way it is. I do think Love, Rosie is just another example of me just loving very cliche love stories. Like, it's about 2 best friends, like they've been best friends for their whole lives, and then he moves to America to go to college and she stays in England, but in the end they still find their way back to each other, and I just love that, and I just love those kind of stories. So yeah, it's probably because it's so cliche or something. It's just such a sweet movie and so heartwarming, and yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. Movie number 8 on this list is The Notebook, and I think you probably felt this one coming way in the beginning of this video when I told you that I'm a sucker for cliche romance stories. The Notebook is no exception. I'm not gonna lie to you, I've only seen The Notebook like 2 months ago. Like, that was the first time I ever saw it because I was so scared of it being cliche in a bad way, because you have good cliche movies and you have bad cliche movies that are like cliche, cliche, cliche. That probably only makes sense to me. But yeah, The Notebook did not disappoint. I was really scared to watch it because the entire world is like, yeah, it's one of the best cliche romance movies in existence, and I was like, yeah, but what if I hate it? But then Netflix decided to add it, and I was like, you know what, why not? Maybe I'll love it. And I did. I absolutely did. It's just so romantic. I feel like it's every girl's dream that there's a guy out there for them that is so dedicated to her. And I mean, it's probably or definitely unrealistic, and it's not an expectation that you should expect someone some guy or girl that you fall in love with to actually live up to, because it's a movie for a reason and it's a movie cliche for a reason. But it's still nice to just watch it happen to someone. Movie number 9 on this list is Now You See Me. Now You See Me is a movie that actually kind of blew my mind the first time I saw it. I've never really been like into magicians or that kind of stuff, but when I saw this movie I was like, what? There's obviously a difference between like real magicians and a movie about magicians, but this movie was so well made and it just had me hooked to the screen like the whole time. And then part 2 came out, and I'm not a fan of change, so when Isla Fisher was no longer gonna be in it, I was like, no. Even though I didn't even give it a chance, I didn't even watch it, it was just a trailer and I was like, no. But then I ended up still watching it because I was like, okay, I'll give it a chance, whatever. Part 1 was good, part 2 was good, and I'm not disappointed. I was not let down in any way, and it was actually kind of fun to watch Mark Ruffalo be a bad guy for once. We probably all know him as Bruce Banner and the Hulk in like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but watching him play a bad guy was a different experience and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, Now You See Me is definitely a movie I would recommend for you to watch. The final movie on this list is The Age of Adaline. One of the reasons why I love that movie so much is because of Blake Lively. I think her beauty is definitely timeless, and I feel like that's also why she was such a good fit to play Adaline. She would probably be considered beautiful in like any decade, so for her to play Adaline was such a good decision. The Age of Adaline is definitely a movie for the romantics among us. Yeah, I definitely fell in love with it. Alright, so let's get to the honorable mentions. There are a lot of movies that I enjoyed watching that didn't make it to my top 10, but definitely deserve to be mentioned in this video. The first one I'd like to mention is also a Blake Lively movie that I've recently seen. It's called A Simple Favor. It features Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick. It's a bit like a mystery movie kind of thing, but still funny, so I really enjoyed that. That was really a good movie to watch. The next honorable mention is Shrek. For obvious reasons, I don't think I need to explain this one, so I definitely won't. Shrek. Next one is Interstellar. I don't know if anyone has seen Interstellar, but it's another one of those blow your mind movies, so definitely watch that. It's really good. It's long, but it's worth it. Then obviously Mean Girls. I could not take Mean Girls off this list. I could not mention it because it's a classic, and even though it's not Wednesday, I'm still wearing pink. The next one on this list is Titanic, which is another obvious one which I could not leave out because it is just a classic and it's a good movie, and young Leo. Fast and the Furious 7 is next. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I've only seen Fast 5 until Fast 8, and out of those movies, 7 is my favorite, so I had to add it to this list. Right, second to last one is Lucy. I don't know if any of you have seen Lucy, but Scarlett Johansson is a badass, so you definitely should watch it. Also, even though the whole what if we used our brains at 100% capacity is obviously for the sake of the plot, it's still a good movie and you should definitely watch it. The last one on this list, which I could not leave out, is Miss Americana, which is a documentary about Taylor Swift. I mean, I could not leave it out. It's quite political. I mean, it starts out about her and her life and her career and all of that, and then it gets really political, but still, it's Taylor Swift. I could not leave it out. Anyway, that was it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I genuinely hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, do whatever feels right. If I left out any movies that you really enjoyed watching and that you think I should definitely watch, leave them in the comments and I'll check them out. Either way, thanks for watching and I'll see you at the next video. Bye! Yeah, leave. Thank you.